Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Motorhead Garage is presented by DragonfireTools.com. All right, let's cut right to the chase. Let's say you love off-roading. Maybe you want to fabricate something for your vehicle. Maybe you want to tinker in your garage and do something for one of your other cars. Well, you want a tool that's affordable. You want it to be made in the USA, and that is exactly what Swag Off-Road does. Matt, what did you bring for show and tell?
So I brought with us today our Swag Portaband table. Basically, it allows you to take a portable bandsaw, mount it vertically, and convert it into a vertical metal cutting bandsaw.
This is a great idea. How do I know it's going to fit the saw that I already have?
So we have a table that's compatible with over 80 different saws on the market today. So if you've got an old portable bandsaw sitting in your garage, we've got a table that'll fit.
And if you have an old saw, it has a cord, and getting power to the saw is easy because you can put a foot switch or something like that. But with the battery power tools that a lot of folks have today, how do you manage that? You don't want to reach around the tool to pull the throttle, so what do you do?
Exactly. So we had that same problem, and that's why we developed our choke out kit. Basically, it's a trigger actuator that is powered by a choke cable. So you can turn it on, turn it off, nice and safe. Your hand stays away from the blade.
It's a brilliant idea. The Portaband table is going to save you a lot of space in your shop. It's going to save you a lot of money because you don't have to buy a new bandsaw. Now, once you cut the metal, naturally you want to bend the metal. And so that's where this comes in. Tell me about this tool.
So this is our 20-ton heavy-duty finger brake. We offer it in a couple different versions, fully welded, ready to go out of the box. So if you're looking to order one up, drop it in your press, and get to work, we've got you covered. We also offer it as a DIY welded together kit. It's great for guys learning how to weld. Once they put this together in about 2 hours, they've got themselves a tool that'll last them a lifetime.
Now, if you're pushing this brake to the limit, what kind of steel can you bend?
So this unit right here, the 20-ton heavy-duty finger brake, you can bend up to half-inch plate just like this.
That's amazing. What if I want to bend something that won't fit in this brake?
So we offer a couple different versions, a 40-inch and a 50-inch. You'd have to weld your own H-frame press, but man, our customers are amazing. You should see what they've made.
Well, yeah, what are people using this for?
We've got customers in the off-road world that are using it for skid plates, bumpers, things like that, and guys in their garage just making brackets.
Now, you've bent your sheet metal, you've bent your plate steel. What if you have tubing? What do we do with that?
So we offer a tubing roller. We call it our Hulk tubing roller. And this allows you to make smooth sweeping arcs. So guys doing exo cages, bumpers, light bars, things like that, where they want to put a nice gradual arc on their tubing, this is the tool for the job.
Of course, I've seen lots of photos of the projects that can be done with this. Not just automotive, but I've seen people do handrails and gates, spiral staircase railings, even that kind of thing too. This thing is incredibly versatile. What makes it so versatile?
Well, one of the things we offer is 70 different die sizes for this unit. So if there's a material out there you want to roll, there's a good chance we got the dies for you.
This is an incredibly heavy tool. How do you handle shipping?
So basically, this is the only tool here that you've seen today that we charge shipping on. Everything else ships for free, including the die sets.
And everything else here ships for free as well.
Correct, yes.
And how does Swag Off-Road ensure that you're getting a quality tool when you order it online?
So we're a small company, so we've got to put in the extra work. We've got great customer service. If you've got questions and you call us, we pick up the phone. If you've got an email, we answer it. You know, that's the best way that we found to kind of compete with the bigger companies.
And it's also important to note all the metal parts here are made in the USA.
That's true. We pride ourselves in making all of our tools right here in the United States.
Swag Off-Road makes it simple, they make it affordable, and they make it right here in the United States. You can find them at swagoffroad.com. We've got a whole lot more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com coming up, so please stay here.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics, Shade Wagon, throw some shade, and by DragonfireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
We are Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. You know, whether you're a pro or an amateur, working on your car can be difficult because it's so hard to see sometimes. Of course, if you're like me, you got a 6-year-old holding a flashlight, not that consistent. I love you, Lincoln, but not that great of work on the flashlight. And it's always a never-ending struggle to get the light where you need it, Kevin. but you fix that with Goose Grip. How'd you do it?
Absolutely. The very first light that we made is called the Goose Grip Mechanics Work Light. It uses a vacuum suction plate on a long bendable gooseneck with a LED light stick at the end and a very, very special swivel. And it looks a little crazy, I know, but what we do is we take this, if we're working under the hood, we're going to take this, which is a vacuum suction plate, otherwise known as a suction cup, and we're going to take this and we're going to put it through where the hood and the wiper shelf meet, and we're simply going to guide that through, position the suction cup down at the lower end of the windshield, and we're going to clip the handles. And now you can take this and you can bend it however you want. I'm going to take the Milwaukee battery and we're going to insert that. Now we're going to turn the light on, and you get to position it however you want. If you're doing an alternator or power steering or anything down below the height of the engine, just position it where you want. And now you can work with both your hands. You don't have to worry about a light falling. It'll stay wherever you put it, and wherever you turn it to, it stays in that position. Ballerina, 360-degree rotation, and also airplane propeller. It'll stay wherever you put it. Put it any place, at any angle, and you are free to use it.
This is something that needed to exist, and here it is.
I made it for me. I'm a mechanic 40 years, and this was the first light that I made. Everything is custom made. It doesn't break. It's really the definition of rugged. Everything is steel, stainless steel, and 6061 aluminum. The light stick is 100% waterproof to 28 feet. Not that you'd put it under the water.
Where's it made?
We make them right here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, one at a time. All custom made, nothing's off the shelf. So we have another light. This is called the Goose Grip Super Articulating Chassis Light. And it uses the same design of a M12 battery in a housing and a gooseneck. It's a little shorter because you don't need all of that length under a car. And you can simply take the battery and insert it in this light. And now if you're under the car, you can clip this to an exhaust pipe or a bracket or a control arm or the frame rail, anything irregular. And under the car it wouldn't matter because it'll leave a mark, it's teeth. But under a car on an exhaust pipe would be acceptable. You couldn't use this under the hood because you're going to leave teeth marks.
We're used to the traditional hood light that hangs across the top of the hood, and you've addressed that as well for folks that like to work with that sort of light. You can also use this as sort of a backup. Maybe you want to use this in concert with one of those lights as well.
Hood lights have been around for a really long time, and they're usually about 4 or 5 pounds, and they have the big springs that hold on the edge of the hood. Like I said, 4 pounds, a lot of them. This is the Goose Grip 39-inch stick light, and this weighs 7.5 ounces. And
you've put a couple of magnetic loops up there already. And,
absolutely.
That's all you need to do.
And so, okay, you just slide it through, and now you have this light right here. And I'm going to use the portable version of the battery pack. I call it the Buffalo. And this will stick, of course, to any metal. We could actually put it on the hood and plug it in. And now you have 3,600 lumens of overhead lighting, just like a hood light.
Goose Grip's got you covered whether you're working under the hood or under the vehicle. Find all of it at goosegrip.com. And find more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com right after this.
Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
Well, one of the coolest cutaways on the planet right here. Lets you see everything that's going on. Think about it for a minute. We got a crankshaft down there turning to a connecting rod. That's actually running up here to these pistons. Now these pistons have to be lubricated. That connecting rods have to be lubricated. The crankshaft has to be lubricated. All the way up to the valve. You got these lifters, you got camshaft, you got cam bearings. There is a ton going on inside of that engine. Welcome to this Amsoil Tech Tip. Now you heard that one. Squeaking a little bit, and it's spinning at electric speed, which is nothing. These things go 5,000 RPMs. Just imagine that and what the oil has to do. Also, there's some frictional loss in all those bearings. Now that 100% loss actually equates to all this here. You see the piston rings 38%, valve train 20, 19 for the crankshaft, 12 for the oil pump, so forth and so on. More frictional loss, the less horsepower you're going to get. Oil plays a big role in that, right, Len?
Right, you can influence this with oil, specifically the construction of the oil. You can change those numbers for the better or for the worse.
Now there's additives in these oil, and I know you're a smart guy, so I'm going to give you a quiz. I got the cheat sheet right here, all right? First one is anti-foamants.
Well, it is what it says. It keeps the foam from happening. The reason we don't want foam in the oil is because foam is air. Air is compressible, and it doesn't provide protection.
Yeah, can't have oil pressure with that. What about viscosity modifiers?
Viscosity modifiers are interesting. They help us to bridge the gap. When you see these engine oils that are 0W somethings, 50s, 40s, 30s, viscosity modifiers help us bridge the gap. Now, the key there is, the better the base oil, the less viscosity modifiers you have to use, and that's the way we tend to build products.
Absolutely. Pour point depressants.
Well, those are, once again, what they say they are. They help us get the pour point of the oil down to a lower temperature, so the car will start better.
What about dispersants?
Dispersants keep particles from collecting to forming a larger particle. Large particles can scratch things and create problems in bearings, so a dispersant keeps things broken up so that it can be caught in the filter.
Man, you're nailing this one, Len. Two more for you. Detergents.
Detergents help to keep things clean, just like you use detergent to wash your clothes. It's very similar. Keeps the oils from oxidizing, keeps the surfaces clean.
And last one, kind of self-explanatory, corrosion and rust inhibitors.
Yes, people don't understand that oil inherently does not have rust and corrosion inhibitors built in. Just because it's oil doesn't mean that you put it on something, it won't rust. We formulate that in.
Well, if I were a student, I'd give you an A, but guess what? I'm the student, you're the instructor. Great job, Len. Oil does so much more than just lubricate. For the best lubrication, along with all the other additives that are needed, go to amsoil.com. Quality products are just a click away.
If you've tuned into Motorhead Garage before, you've probably seen the clamp tight tool. And it's an amazing tool that has all kinds of applications. Sonora, your father invented the clamp tight tool, and you've perfected it and brought it along here. What can the clamp tight tool do? Why does somebody need one for folks that haven't seen it before?
This is an amazing little tool, and what you can do is you can use it as a reducer. This is a big pin to a 1/2-inch hose. You can use it as a banding tool. So if you need to band things together, those ratchet type banders, so you can use the clamp tight that way. But you can make the best hose clamp. It's the right size, the right shape clamp.
So how do I use the clamp tight tool?
Well, let's start out. We're gonna measure our wire and see how much wire we need to use. So the easiest way to do it, you can wrap the wire around the project like this and give yourself about 6 inches on one end and then go around 4 times. And then we're gonna cut here. That assures us, even if you have a more rigid wire, then it's gonna work. So go to the middle and then straighten them out.
And they'll find your center point and you'll know where to start.
Exactly.
It's gonna be the same no matter what kind of wire you're using?
You can use almost any kind of wire with this tool, and that's one of the things that's so impressive. You can use it with a coat hanger, a tie wire, electric fence wire. Be careful with copper because it's so soft. It'll stretch and then pull loose. The stainless steel is our favorite, and we do sell stainless steel on our website. It's more corrosive resistant, and we have it in like a 304, a 316 stainless, even a 400 for marine application.
So engineers out there are going to know exactly what they need.
Absolutely. As you have the tool and you have the wire, you're the engineer. So we fold the wire in half, go through there twice. Now we're going to separate these, make sure they're straight, and then this is where we're going to connect the tool.
Okay.
And I'm going to turn it this way. Bring the wire over the pins on each side. That's where the pressure is, and it needs to be nice and snug. Now check it out. This is why the tool works so well. We folded the wire in half and we have that loop, right? So we're going to put that loop in that notch on the nose. Actually, you're pushing against the outside part of the wires. The insides of the wires,
because you're wrapped around there, is also pulling.
exactly. That's why the tool works so well. It actually pushes and pulls and evenly distributes the pressure. How many times have you taken a pair of pliers and a piece of wire and you twist it to get it tight? Fine line between tight and broke. So what this does is it reduces the friction that's delivered to that wire. There you have it.
Excellent. Well, there's a billion different applications for clamp tights, clamps here. You can find all the different sizes, and you can find lots of different applications at clamptightTools.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage, so do not move.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. HMS Motorsports, the leader in motorsport safety. And by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com. Now, Motorheads, you know how it is. You get a fender bender, maybe you need a bumper, maybe you need a fender piece, something like that. Well, there's a few options, and I've seen a lot of folks driving around rooming with a body panel on there that's not painted, and they're waiting until they have a chance to get it painted. What's the problem with that?
Problem is that when you install a car part, especially the metal, sheet metal, like a fender or a hood, you install it in a car and you don't paint it, it's gonna rust right after the first rain. So a few weeks later, you're gonna have rust on your hood, and guess what? The part is garbage right after that. You can't really paint it anymore, because once you paint it, rust is like a cancer to a human being.
So there's no point in doing that. So then you can wait for the body shop to get you in. So what are some of the problems with that? Obviously, you're driving around with a wrecked car for a while.
Body shops are very expensive these days. We have the price cheaper than most body shops out there, and we're very affordable. Body shops, they charge $350, $400 to paint a bumper. We charge $195.
And by we, Painted Auto Parts?
PaintedAutoParts.com.
Yeah, and so how many different cars do you offer parts for on your website?
Pretty much 98% of them out there. Everything that's available aftermarket, we do carry. We have about 90,000 different items.
And how many, what kind of different parts are we talking? Obviously, you have fenders and bumpers and that sort of thing.
Bumpers, fenders, hoods, headlights, grills, anything like exterior body parts.
And you send the parts actually painted right from your facility. Where are they painted, first of all?
In Chicagoland.
Very good. And are you using the VIN off of the vehicle, or are you using the paint code, or how does it work?
The customer must provide us with the paint code.
So if you have a custom paint job, still no problem. You guys can match that color.
As long as they provide us with the correct paint code, yes.
I know one of the big concerns our viewers are going to have is fitment. You're getting a part from, it's not an original part. How's it going to fit on the vehicle?
Very well, actually. The aftermarket companies have improved a lot in the past 10, 15 years. I started this 20 years ago. I remember having quite a few problems of car parts not fitting well, and a lot of complaints, and therefore a lot of the aftermarket companies have improved a lot. So I honestly rarely have any complaints about a part not being fit well.
What's the process like once I find out I need a part? How do I go about getting it from you at PaintedAutoParts.com?
Just go to PaintedAutoParts.com, select your year, make, and model, choose whatever part you need, bumper, fender, headlight, hood, whatever it is, just add it to cart. If it's a painted part, we have a drop-down menu, you can choose your paint code. Make sure, it's very important to get your own paint code from your own car. Do not call the dealer. A lot of times people call the dealerships, they give them the VIN numbers, and the dealerships give them wrong paint codes. Therefore, I do recommend that you obtain your own paint code from your own car yourself. Do not call the dealer.
And once you place the order, how long till I get my part?
It's 10 to 15 business days for painted parts. However, in a busy season like the spring, could take a few days more. We're a little behind, running a little behind.
Well, but it's still impressive. People have got to realize you can't stock painted parts already because you don't know what color and what part people are going to order. So you're stocking some unpainted parts, and then when folks order it, then you're shipping it that way.
Yeah, some people they think that everything is ready to go and ships next day, but no, it is not. We have to actually physically paint the part before we ship it, so it's a process.
I know we've addressed the fitment there. What about the quality of the paint job? How does it compare to the OEM paint job?
We do the same job as any dealership would do or a body shop. It's the same process. We prep the parts before we paint them, base coat, clear coat, and then we buff them after that. It's exactly the same thing like any body shop does or the dealer.
It's the easy way to do things, it's the cost-effective way to do things, and it's going to match right every time. PaintedAutoParts.com is the place to go to get painted auto parts. And now for something completely different. It's a 1996 Buick Roadmaster, and it's owned by our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week, Daniel Ottinger. But first, let's rewind. Daniel tells me that back when he was 8 years old, he was dreaming about cars. He loved automobiles. By the time he was 14, he had mowed a bunch of lawns. He saved up that money, and that money, plus $2,500 from Granny, that got him this 1971 Chevy C10 Cheyenne Super. But then, as happens all the time, life happened to Daniel. 20 years later and 5 kids later, Daniel decided he needed something a little more practical. So he sold the truck back to the previous owner and he picked up the Roadmaster. It has an LT1 engine under the hood and he says it is a blast to drive. Daniel also tells me 3 of his kids inherited their dad's passion for automobiles, so he uses the Roadmaster to take the whole family to car shows in style. Go to MotorheadGarage.tv and tell us your story. More of our story next week, so be sure to tune in then for another edition of Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. We'll see you.